Okay, hi. Well, we're joined today by the wonderful Woody. Hi there, Woody.
How you going?
Very good. How are you doing?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining. If you would like to follow me, and you have, as you can see on the left here, is on Jonathan Raymaker's house, and mine's on the right here, and you have the choice of either of these two plots. Now, Jonathan pointed out, obviously the sun is over there, and he wanted his garden to be in the sun, so I didn't think about that, but it's entirely up to you. So I will allow you to choose your plot, and you can start.
Well, I think I'm gonna. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was gonna say I think I'll end up casting somewhat of a shadow, so I think I'll be better off taking this one opposite John actually.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, perfect. Well,
Yeah.
if you want to start getting all your stuff ready, and before I ask any questions, I'm just going to say a few words, and I'll come back to you in a second. So I'm sure everyone knows who Woody is. I just wanted to say that I think Woody's really the reason that I sort of started my YouTube channel. He was very kind to assist me with a few issues I was having with the game, being fairly new to it, and he said to me, if I send him some images or whatever of the problem I'm having, he'll have a look at it. So I uploaded a video of my problem, and then he uploaded a tutorial to help, and then followed that up with a second tutorial, and it helped me massively get through this problem I was having with the game, or the lack of understanding of certain concepts. And it was kind of that, having uploaded that video, that kind of made me think, oh, this is interesting. And then basically from then, he's been very supportive and very helpful. So he's going to hate me for saying this, but yeah, that's that's him. So, you're calculating something out here, aren't you?
I am. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see what happens in the end.
Interesting. I'm going to take down this for sale sign. Oh, I'm going to attempt to. Okay, so let's find out a little bit about yourself. So, how old are you?
I'm going to give you an age range.
Yeah,
Age, I think, is one thing I would kind of hide away from.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm between 20 and 35.
Nice. Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. Bit of wiggle room.
Yeah. No. It's not really. I don't think it. I was massively concerned about how old you are as such, but it's nice to get a rough idea. Because I think a lot of these creators are either, some of them are a lot younger than you'd expect, and you think, wow, they're putting out some amazing content for their age, and it's quite interesting. So, and if you don't mind saying, where are you sort of based? What country are you in, or give us a range?
I am Great British Isles.
Fantastic.
It's the bubble block with a kind of a twist. You've probably seen it many a time before on other people's videos or somewhere around, but I wanted to do something a little bit, like you say, along the lines with the having no door or a door. We'll go for a little bit of privacy. I thought, you know what, they're going to be missing a little bit of shape and a little bit of something, so we'll go in with a nice little bit of curved edges and some roundness going on, maybe. It's tricky. I managed to have a look earlier, and I pulled up a circle generator that people use for like Minecraft and things like that. Had a little bit of a toy with it, just to see if I could understand it, and it seemed to work all right. So we'll see where we get to. Not entirely sure how it's going to look when it's finished, but it'll be something. You're all good. You're all good. So this, in a weird way, was a question that I was sort of dreading, if dread is the right word, because I've kind of muddled through life with having things to do and enjoying things, but never really having a passion that I feel people connect passion to something that like will drive them through life, and if they could work at something, that is what they would do. For me, I've had interests, and interests have seen me through for a fair amount of years, but in terms of passion, I'm not entirely sure if there's ever been anything that's gripped me that much. But I do enjoy my sport, or I was fairly active until all this kind of situation came around, but playing rugby for most of my life, realistically, probably other than the first 6 years of it. The rest of it, I've been involved in one way or another. And that's been playing it, that's been helping coach my local area. I've helped coach the local women's team, the local girls team, and some of those have gone off to be international players.
Wow, fantastic.
So that's been pretty nice.
Yeah, I never really... rugby wasn't something that didn't quite ever get me. I don't know why. Maybe it's a little bit too rough for me. Although I did play football, but we're footballers are. Yeah, I mean footballers are a lot. Yeah, let's not go there. But compared to the rugby players,
I don't
know. Yeah. So when did you start your YouTube channel?
My actual channel started pretty much, I think it's about 3 months after YouTube itself was a thing. So my channel date is 2006, and I want to say it's like June or July. I uploaded probably 1 or 2 videos from an old first-person shooter called Counter-Strike way back when, but they have since found their way into the bin, and they are no longer there. And I never really took YouTube as anything until a bit later on. Sort of Call of Duty came out, and they had their own theatre mode, so you're able to capture clips a little bit easier.
Right,
so it kind of went from there, and then again it kind of went in the bin. But I guess I only sort of took it seriously, if seriously is the word, over the last 12 months.
Right, yeah.
Which is pretty much where Scrap Mechanic came in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's how I sort of came across you. I was looking for tutorials or information on the game, and you popped up, and I think at the time you were, you're doing fairly well, but I've seen how quickly you've grown in that time.
Yeah,
which
I appreciate that.
I missed the question actually. I meant to ask. What did you want to, when you were a kid? What did you think you would be when you were older?
Farmer.
Really?
As weird as it is, I'm a country bumpkin.
Yeah.
So I've kind of grown up in that kind of atmosphere in that area, and I just used to love, especially pigs when I was a kid.
Yeah. So did I, funny enough. Yeah.
just something about being a farmer and working the land and doing all that kind of stuff that just it seemed to be, I don't know, just something awesome.
It's funny. It's not something that occurred to me as a child, but there was discussion when I was younger about if we had animals, what would you have? And I always chose pig. I wanted a pig. But the idea of a farm that is now really interests me.
Yeah.
I like the idea of getting a property with some land and just tending the land and the animals. I think it's really, really appealing now.
I think it's the without sounding too much like a hippie, it's kind of the being one with nature, or just being outside. I think that does a lot for your good health in general.
Yeah. Oh, I can't even get up the stairs in my own house. I don't know what's going on there. So you're not currently a full-time YouTuber, right?
No way.
So what is it that you do as your main job? You can give us a range again if you like.
I don't mind telling, because it's quite interesting what I currently do, actually. So I'm actually what is known as a lost wax caster. So it's quite an old style of job, actually. Kind of what I do is I work with a sculptor, and we make bronze work. So our work itself literally dates back to the Bronze era. So that's kind of how old the job title itself is.
Yeah. Wow.
It's different. I used to be a Spark, so
Oh, right.
a lot of I got to go down this road. So after my schooling, so I never really had a clue what I wanted to do. I did schooling, I went to college, I thought, hey, I'll be a bricklayer. That sounds like awesome.
Mm-hmm.
After that, decided, you know what, I want to do one better than being a bricklayer. I want to be the guy that designs everything. So I went to university to be a civil engineer.
All right.
One
cool.
thing led to another at university that unfortunately saw me being politely asked, do you never return? It was unfortunate. It's not as bad as it sounds.
Okay.
It was just an unfortunate time, I guess. And then I ended up working for my old rugby coach, actually. He offered me a position. He saw that I was in a bit of a loose ends after uni with nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
So he sort of put his neck on the line and offered me a job as an electrician for his firm. And I was there for a long time.
Right.
And it was never something I wanted to do. The heart was never in it. But it was just a bad situation of the current crisis that the world was going through, that, you know, at the time you were lucky if you had a job.
Yeah.
So I'm not one to kind of moan about where I'm at. So I did that for a long old time and decided when things were in a better situation, you know what, this isn't for me.
Mm.
I'll look for something else. And everybody says, well, how did you find being, you know, involved in the artwork? And quite honestly, I just answered an ad in an agency or whatever it was, and one thing led to another. They took me on for a trial, and next thing you know, I'm creating works of art that are gonna live longer than me and generations and generations. So
wow.
it's crazy.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible sometimes how these things, you just fall into these things, and
That's it.
yeah. So it's looking awesome, unique. I like this this effect you've done, the bubble wrap, and I have seen it somewhere, but I attempted it myself the other day and got it completely wrong. So now I can see, I've seen how it's done, which is quite cool. Yeah, very nice. So moving on now to your scrap mechanic stuff. When did you start playing the game?
So I actually started to play probably a month at most after Survival came out. I guess I saw Squiddy and Scrapman's, probably one or two of their videos, and I just thought, you know what, there's something about this game that just looks, I don't know, it looks a little bit different, it looks a little bit epic. I want to give this a go. And without having watched any other content other than probably one or two videos from those guys about Survival itself, I just thought, just jump on it and go for it.
Right. Yeah, they're I think so far Scrapman's been the
main name.
The main name. Squiddy, I'm interested, you said, because I did watch his stuff. I mean, he appears to have cooled off on the scrap mechanic stuff at the moment, but yeah, he was always one for these crazy big builds and interesting ideas as well, which was interesting. So was it, they were the two that I would say, not that they necessarily attracted you to the game, but they were the ones that you saw.
Yeah, I think I'm heavily influenced by other people. When I say heavily influenced, that's a lie. I'm influenced by what I see. So when it was kind of seeing how the creative aspect of the game was, and what it seemed like at the time was very few limitations.
Mm-hmm.
That and that alone, and obviously seeing people who've got some kind of skill around building this sort of thing, it's an enticement. It just kind of latches you in, and it kind of scratches an itch.
Yeah.
The one had about creativity, I guess.
Yeah, very good. So what kind of scrap mechanic content do you like to create for your channel?
What I like to create and what I do create are two very different things, I feel. Unfortunately for me, I don't feel that what I would like to create is something that ends up with the finished product. I just don't have the skill set to put across the ideas and the goals that I want to do. I don't quite know what it is that I'm missing, but when I've got an idea and I try and put it out, it doesn't come out as well. But I have found, to an extent, that a lot of my stuff is more along the lines of sort of tutorials or a little bit of how-to. A lot of my videos that have picked up a little bit more traction than the other stuff has been more along the lines of explaining stuff, or just trying to give a little bit of a how-to on things.
Yeah.
If that's the way that it goes, that's I've got nothing against that. Helping people out, like you said in the intro yourself, is, it's a nice thing to do. If I can do that, I'll try and do what I can to help people out.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, you said that the content you try to create isn't always what you do create, but I think you hide that well. What you produced, it seems well thought out from my, and it looks like you are achieving what you want. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say.
That's pretty kind of you.
So yeah, no, it's very good. So is there any other content you create for your channel other than Scrap Mechanic, or anything else you play, or?
Well, in fairness, at the minute, I've thrown a little bit of shorts up there to do with the Call of Duty side of life. It's just more something that I play kind of as a more of a relaxing game, as strange as it is to say about a game that's like that. But it's also a way to test a few things, how welcoming people are to different content, different styles, and all this kind of stuff. And it's to help me gauge, because I do want to bring different content to the channel. I do, but it's knowing how to do it and what to bring in a way that's not going to damage the growth that we've already had. I'm very thankful for the base that I have, and obviously I've got that through doing Scrap Mechanic. So it'd be very risky and unfair of me to sort of park Scrap Mechanic completely and go onto something else. But I don't want to get stuck in this loop of this being the only thing that I want to do. Yeah.
So do you have any plans for your channel in the future that you don't mind divulging?
I've got ideas of direction that I want to go. I'm just, at the minute, I'm unsure of how to go there. I think it's the easiest way to go. In the short term, it's easy to say I want to be a variety kind of creator. And that could cover gaming, or it could cover more. There's some more sort of real life things that I'd like to do. I'd like to be able to do things that we can potentially give back to the community and my little subscriber base and whatnot. And it's trying to work out how to do that and how to bring everybody involved in a fair and equal way that's going to benefit everybody, really. And that's a tricky thing.
So as you've said, you produce a lot of like tutorial videos and information, etc., which is obviously how I first found you. But at the moment, you are doing some similar videos, as I've noticed. But you've taken to streaming the game a lot now, right?
Yeah. So streaming. Streaming came on the back of, I've got to a point where I feel if I don't deliver content, I feel like I'm let myself down, and I feel like I'm letting the little kind of collective community that we've all built together, I'm letting those guys down as well. So it mainly started just before Christmas, as I wanted to try and get something out most days, but I had no idea what. So I just thought, I'll give streaming a go. And it was actually kind of very well received. Which is really nice. So I've always said to my mate, I never want to be a streamer. In a way, you've got to watch what you say too much. You've got to really, really self-filter a lot. And I suppose in the back of my head, there was always a worry that I'm going to slip up and say something that's going to come back to haunt me almost one day. So streaming's always been one of those that I've always been a little bit apprehensive about. But when you get into it and you get going, it's actually not so bad. You get used to your community, and I'm thankful that I've got regulars like yourself and like Cube and John, and even the smaller guys who just turn up just to watch the stuff. Without those, without literally the audience, whatever, a stream is just me just yapping to nothing on the camera.
There's a really nice little community that sort of been built around you and your channel. Actually, they're really, yeah, it's fun. Not just to join them, just to see you and what you're producing, but to actually chat to them as well. It's yeah, I think it's a really nice group.
In the ideal world, it's what I'd like to make. Is I'd like to make something that's sort of for everybody in a strange way. I mean, it's a community, like you say. At the end of the day, without everybody else being there, there is no community. So to have everybody being able to talk and interact with each other, and most importantly for me, to get along with each other.
Yeah,
it's really nice to see.
Yeah, good little banter as well sometimes.
Definitely.
Okay, so it's been interesting so far, learning about you and your scrap mechanic YouTube content, etc. Let's just touch upon, I guess, some of the little negativities of the game, which unfortunately I'm just interested to get people's points of view. If you could choose one thing, what is the biggest pet peeve you have with scrap mechanic?
I would say it's probably sort of reliability of the game, or how well it's optimized. Probably the better way of putting it.
Yeah.
There are still things in this game that were a problem when Survival launched. For example, the soil duplication glitch. Those things shouldn't be in the game at this point.
Yeah.
And why they're here, it's wrong of me to kind of ask questions in an area that I don't know. I don't know game development. I don't know that kind of area. But I do wonder whether they pay attention to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that they're adding new content. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have new things to do and stuff. But I've always had a bit of a gripe with adding new content rather than fixing what you've got first.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough. I mean, it's something that I might have touched upon this in the previous episode, so I apologise to people if I'm repeating myself. But being fairly new to the game and not putting as many hours in as many of the YouTube creators have, I'm only just discovering this stuff now. So I can imagine, like, with the hours you've put in and that how frustrating it can be. These little things are not optimized quite right. Like I'm experiencing building a vehicle and it just making the game unplayable because it's just lagging out the whole game, and little things like that, which is just so unfortunate. But yeah, all right. So what would you like to see? What one thing would you like to see in the vanilla game? So if we're not talking mods here, but if they were to put one thing in, what would you really like to see?
I would like them. I would like them to be able to. Number one, I'd like to optimize the game. I think if they optimize the game, it would allow people to make bigger, more complicated things without the problems that they have. I think having the ability to be able to build bigger and crazier things would open the doors to so many things.
Yeah.
That in itself is one of the reasons why Squiddy kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So he did his huge conveyor belt to the trader, and it doesn't happen because of stretching bearings and all this kind of stuff. And for me personally, it's not game breaking, but it puts the brakes on a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the hours goes into building all that stuff, and then for it to start malfunctioning and breaking the game, and sometimes you can't even open the game.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it might not be like a huge thing that people were expecting me to say, or any sort of big content, but I think the changes that a smooth platform would make they'd just provide their own growth. Really, it'd be so much bigger and better game if it was just smoother.
Totally. So then you've obviously seen the chapter 2 content that they've teased. What in that are you looking forward to?
I'm intrigued by the new wheel types, the new sticky wheels,
Mm-hmm.
and the plasma drill.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. Whether it's going to be a similar sort of drill to what we have now, where there is contact involved, or whether it's going to go down a new road. Because it kind of read, and it seemed like it might go at a different angle. So I'm intrigued to see what they're going to bring with it, how it's going to work, and this kind of stuff. And other than that, I guess I'm intrigued with the chili, because I feel with new plant comes, well, you're going to get something else from the trader.
Yeah.
Are we going to get new things, or is it just going to be another kind of fruit that we use that gets added on to all the existing stuff?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're not waiting too long to find out. Yeah. Okay, I've got only 2 questions left. So, how are you getting on with your build? Are you nearly there? Or?
I'm pretty much there. I'm just trying to work on whether I do actually want the seat here or not.
Right. Well, you've timed this perfectly. So, the first question, well, the first of the last 2 questions, is one that Jonathan Raymaker left for you in the last episode. Obviously, not knowing it was you coming in, so it's basically a generic question to anyone. But I'm asking it to you because you're here. And it was, if you were to collaborate with him on something scrap mechanic related, what idea would you have, or what would it be?
John's stuff is really interesting because it is such a work of art, literally. The way that he creates and everything else. I don't feel that I could bring anything of extra value to him. I think if anything, he'd be doing me a favor to collab with John. Right, I did absolutely love his short, though. There was something about that really tickled me in all the right ways. So if there was something that we could do that was along those kind of lines of that short, that it was quick, it was punchy, it was very well produced, even if it's just something I could learn from him. Was that
the short of him explaining what scrap mechanic was?
It is, yes. Yeah. It's the very first short they did. It was just phenomenal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was really upset I didn't think of it. But then I wouldn't have been able to do it the way he did it. I couldn't have done it with that quality either. It was brilliant. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so the final question then is for you to now ask the next person that joins ScrapChat a question. So is there anything that you would like to ask someone?
No, I was having to think about this, like you say, because the difficulty is we don't know who we're going to end up asking or what we're going to end up asking. So for me, I went down a different route. I went, because I think this applies to anybody of any age, of any place, of any wherever in the world, and it's a case of what one life lesson do you have that you would wish to tell other people?
Oh, very good.
I was thinking about that, and I think that'd work for if you're, if you're 40 something years old, if you're 9 years old, you're always going to have experienced different things in life that potentially are going to, tickle people a little bit different to what we might expect.
Yeah, great question. Yeah.
That'll do, mate.
Right, fantastic. It's looking brilliant. I love the shape. I love the colours of the floors. You took the seat down in the end.
Yes, not necessary. It's just getting in the way.
Nice skylight there. Awesome. Okay, if you enjoyed this episode of ScrapChat, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. I'll thank you once more, Woody, for joining, and take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.